Okay, this is the tutorial, the 6x6 door I made yesterday as of this recording. Yeah, let's just see it opening and closing. It's gonna be much slower than it was yesterday because of the, oh, you can't see the TPS, because of, well, because of, well, server. So, there's one small thing, this cooldown, it doesn't take long. And this is the opening. So this is the opening. This is the second one on top. Like all normal 6x6s that I know of that are not lightning speed, under 1 second fast layout things. And this is the bottom, my favorite part. Now, you might realize one thing, if you saw earlier. It's gonna get really slow now because of the TPS. There we go. So you might realize, what is this? I realized once I actually mentioned that this quad was not in the video, but like, yeah, not in the last video. That the quad was the easiest circuit. I just realized it was location when I pasted it onto my second plot on Synergy and it didn't work. So that's why this is here. So instead of having a block, then a 1 tick, 2 tick mono here, you just have a 2 tick and then like this. But we're gonna find out if it's locational once we actually build the door over here. So we can do the bottom first and the top. So I'm guessing where you want your 6x6. You're just gonna start with your frame. So this is where your side pistons are gonna go, here and here. So you just go in from here, and then so the side pistons are going to be the corner of your door, and then you're gonna place 4 pistons pretty much right in the center, closest to the front. So like you have 3 wide on this side, 3 wide on this side, 2 wide on this side, and then 4 wide on this back side. And then this will get your frame laid out using smooth quartz. You can use whatever. That's obviously not redstone blocks. And we're gonna have side pistons, obviously. And then the storage is actually on the same side for both of them. So sometimes they could be on different sides, like this storage could be back there, and this top storage would be over here, but they're on the same side. So you're gonna go to the side where it's 4 wide, and 2 out, like this, and fill those in with blocks. We might have to remove them later. Okay, so go up, do this. Sorry for background noise. That, and then do the same thing on the bottom, and then we have that, and then we can fill this in. So that's the whole layout. We'll do the tape when we get to the tape. But that's the whole layout, and now we're gonna get into the inputs. So on the bottom, we just only have 2 different types of inputs, orange and cyan. So we're gonna have one here. This will eventually be out of hoppers. Fills, as you can see right here. And that's for my favorite part of the whole door. You have this orange here. Dust, repeaters. And any of the clips on the bottom will not be using world edit, so you actually have to see how to do it. So that's for the bottom. The top is pretty normal. You have that, you get yellow, I did not use white for the inputs because I didn't feel like it was necessary, because this was just to waste my time for fun. And this top one is yellow. Let me grab repeaters. And then this one down here, slightly weird. It's 3 purple and then 1 up. And that's just because of this one tick repeater going into the red. And that's actually all the inputs. We'll get to how we fire these pistons after. But yeah, that's all the inputs, so let's get with the bottom. But first, I'm just gonna put these in. Now, before we actually get to the bottom, I want to build one part of the piston tape, because that part of the piston tape is actually used a lot in the whole door. So, I believe it's used like this, it's the side here. It's used like, I think it's like 15 or 16 times in the whole door, because of, well, the tape and opening, closing, because, yeah, you'll see in a second. So you're gonna have something like this. Pretty simple tape. So when the block comes in here, it does that, or it can just push straight across, but it won't matter. And if it's a redstone block, it'll just push across. And then to fire this one, pretty easy. Well, we can't have a 2-tick here with this. So we have to actually do this because of something else in this area, which we'll get to later. And you notice it does the side piston too. So I guess the side piston right here with this dust, and this is only 1.16, I believe. This with this dust going downwards. If you just want to do this 1.15, you can just place any redirector here. I'd probably just use a tripwire hook here, like that, and that's your 1.15 fix. So if you want to test this, just remove those blocks. If you place a normal block, it should push across, and if you place a redstone block, it should also push across. And we'll actually get to why these are 1-ticks and not double, why it's 2 1-ticks and not 1 2-tick after. And yeah, I built this side, I'm doing this side first because, yeah. So your input is going to be on the second to last block from the wall on the right side. By the way, make sure this tape is on the right side of the door, so like that. We're just going to have some dust. I need to grab repeaters, E. So we're going to have, I believe it's like this. No, it's like that's right. And then to get this guy, well, we put this one on a slab so they're in sync. And remember, this guy gets done by the tape. So when you flick this, does that. This one gets done by the tape, like I said already. This goes up onto a slab, 2 slabs, sorry. Like this. That dust is not supposed to be there. Then we have 2 4-ticks here. This is our delay for the bottom. Normally, I would use a hopper timer, but like, because of the top, it's not needed. Then we're gonna build this little staircase. So it's gonna go like down like this. Don't want background noise. That will go like that. This will go like this. And then this is like a dual edge, and it's actually important that it fires this dust because of the sake of how it works. So it won't break. So you can see when that dust fires, you can see it fires there, and that's dual edge. This moving down will get updated. This normally, this does not realize because it's still moving. When it retracts, it detects it's moving and then it realizes it's being butted, so it just does. But this just gives it an update on both edges. Only on the first edge, but the second one doesn't matter. So it does this. And then what we're going to do is actually do this, because we're going to have to do the other side. Soon. And it actually does require a 1-tick here. It's also part of red. So technically, this little monostasis should be purple, but it was red because of previous testing, so I'm not really going to change it. You know what, I'll just change it anyway, because Why not? So, come up here with a slab. This is just part purple. I don't know why I'm making this now. Oh yeah. And this is concrete powder. Because of... Well, this was originally a slab. It could just be a regular block. This was originally a concrete powder because, well, it is supposed to be on, or sand, or gravel, not anvils or dragon eggs. Because when this fires, this has to go up, and if this is a normal block, it would stay up, and then this will never get its second pulse. So technically, this could just be a normal piston, but fine. Let's just get into red now. So this part, actually, I said in the showcase that this thing actually gets redesigned like 4 or 5 times, because for whatever reason it didn't work. And if the door actually did work in the end, then it would have actually used a cake in the door, and the cake would have gone right here, which is pretty cool. So we have this block here, we have 2 droppers like this. This has been used for many, well, pretty much all of my super small observerless 6x6 doors, so my 760, my 720, some other 6x6 they use this observerless, so like 900 and 950. So this was actually originally created by Exojet. I'll explain this in a second. So we have a hopper timer here. This fires whenever the tape needs to go. So we have a dust like this, I believe. Nope, I'm dumb. So it goes like this, and then we're gonna have a repeater here, like this. And this is actually what's gonna fire the tape. So we're gonna have this, not there, here, and then have a bud like this. So like, instead of having the updater like on that side, it just does this. And cool fact, those pistons are actually exactly aligned with each other. So this thing and this thing are both aligned with each other, which is pretty cool. And this would fire the tape on the side. And then the last thing that we're missing is a repeater here with another repeater there. It can't be dust because the piston tape would fire and it would break. So that's the whole input circuit. I'm just going to put 1 item in here just for testing. This part won't fire because, yeah, this has 2 items in it. I'll explain how this works in a second. Actually, I think I did that wrong. Did I do that wrong? I think I did. No, I don't think I did. Oh yeah, the items are completely different, I'm dumb. So yeah, it's not 2 items, it's slightly different. So this configuration is actually different. So you're gonna fill the whole bottom up with shovels, and then we're gonna use a redstone lock with this comparator, which only works in 1.9 plus. So this door probably only works 1.9 plus, and then we're just gonna fill everything except for 2 slots. So this is just like the configuration of the, well, of how the 6x6 I mentioned worked. So what it will do is it will send 2 items through like this, and then it will send 2 back, and then only 1 will go through, but then it won't fire, and then this will just get an extra click. But because of how this one works, there's actually no extra click. So normally what happens, you have 2 items down here, you fire both, this turns off, you send both back, it retracts it, then when you send only 1, this does not turn off because it's still an extra 1, and then this gets a click. But because it's filled with shovels, this can't put any more because it's full down here. So that's pretty cool. And this is the entire side pistons, and I don't know why I've been talking about this for so long. So let's just get into the bottom. We're actually going to build a small part of cyan. It's just 1 little part here. Just repeater. I find this is more use in cyan than anywhere else. So we're going to be building this orange circuit here. This torch is actually, for a second I thought it wasn't needed. We're going to place this here. the torch. This is going to be used for the second storage. But first, we're going to have this. This is not normally supposed to go down, but it was like this before. I was too late to change it. Then you're going to have, I believe it's 4 1-ticks of delay, because it's very specific. I can check. Yeah, it's 4 1-ticks, and then this is a block, and this, yeah. So it's 4 1-ticks, and it's really important, and this is that it's 4 1-ticks. And this is actually the reason why it's like this and not like this, and that's because of this 1-tick, because we're going to be spamming the storage with this, and we have to make sure we have to be able to reach this, and I guess for how the tape works, it has to be a 1-tick pulse, so we just have it like this, so it works. Next, we're going to do the second storage. So what this will do is when you give this a 1-tick, it will push these blocks in to here and then push them up. I can show you that right now, like that, and it'll do it on the other edge as well. But I'm not have those there, like that. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to get a 4-tick repeater here. Now, I think this could be a 3-tick, but it's a 4-tick for now. And this is just for delay, because we need to wait for these to fully extend and retract. So I think it could be a 3-tick, I'm just not sure. That goes into there, pushing the next storage up. And then with this, we're actually going to do something really cool, and this is actually going to be used in cyan. We're just going to take an output from the second storage. I believe it's, yeah, here. And just feed it back into this thing, and that's actually why this is down, so I thought it could be up, but it's actually supposed to be down. And it goes like this. Originally this was a block, but changed it. So this actually does the whole closing part. We're just missing magenta and a small part of cyan. I actually forgot one more input, and that's this one down here. This area will get really crowded later. So yeah, if you want to fire this, you can just flick this lever, and it should do something like this, and then on the opening part, you just move those blocks down and unflick it. Remember, the TPS for the server is really slow, so really low, so that's why everything looks laggy. Next, we're going to get into magenta. So magenta is just the bottom extension, but before we get into magenta, we need to do this thing. So this thing is very similar to like all of the 5x5s I've done in the past. I mean, not 5x5s, 6x6s that I've done. And you're probably wondering why this is down. This is actually for a reason why this is down, and this one must be up, and this one cannot be a block, it must be a dust. For reasons later. So this is just like in like my 760 and 720. We just do something. I'm just gonna move these blocks so I don't mess it up. We give this a 1-tick, and it gives 2 pulses. So I just felt like it could be useful, even though it's obvious. So you give this a 1-tick. The bottom fires, then it gives double pulse, and then when you do it, it does like a triple retraction type thing. And I just felt like that could be useful, because, yeah. So next we can actually do magenta now. So down here, we're going to have a dust. Now this is actually where you have to see if it's going to be locational or not. We're going to have, well, depends on how your door is going to be. You're going to have, sorry, the dust goes here. I have a 4-tick here and a 4-tick here. Now, before you test that this is going to be locational, you just place a random block like this. I should actually remove this and this piston here. If you set this monostable where this is only dust, if you fire this and you can see that's not what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to fire the bottom one. So this actually is not going to work. Now, I did try this just to see if it would work. This is disgusting. This does not work. Ew. Having this and then this, it works on the closing, but the quad doesn't work because it actually reuses magenta. So what we're going to have to do is just have a 2-tick here, a monostable, and then a 1-tick, and then like this. and that works perfectly. It's the same delay as normal. But yeah, that does almost all of magenta. It gets the full extension. It's just now we're missing to fire the storage. So you can see we're just missing to fire the storage, and that would set up for the tape. And I can show you that just by putting these pistons in. Thank you. And then we can see it retract. You can see that we're missing the pistons pushing in. And to do that, this is actually another reason why, this is actually the real reason why this is not the 2 ticks going into a 1 tick, because this must be a 1 tick to spit these blocks out. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to put 2 ticks here into a block. Now this dust is going to be redirected to a tripwire or whatever, like that. And then you're going to place a piston with a cauldron on top. I'm on Synergy right now, so the cauldron's automatically filled, but just fill that with a water bucket, just don't shift, or just use water bottles, because they're safer. And then have this comparator here. And that will, well, fire this tape thing right here, which fires this 1 tick, because pistons shorten pulses whenever they're given whatever. So, giving it a 2 tick would turn this comparator into a 1 tick, firing this tape area, and then you fire this, giving the last thing. And this should be the entire closing done before we get to the quad. So we can try it if we reset it. So if we flick it, and you can see it is perfectly timed. Then we can try on the opening, and I can also see that the top is going to mess up because I have that input connected. Now we unflick it. You can see how perfectly timed that is, and that will set it up for the tape. Speaking of the tape, let's just build the tape now. So, tape on this side is slightly different than normal. So, we're going to take an output from our falling edge thing here, and then we're going to have a piston here and a piston right under this. We're going to have this here. This dust gets redirected, and there's going to be a torch under here. This torch actually has 2 purposes. 1, this is actually how we detect the end of the tape, and 2, it's also used to fire whenever a regular block is in this position here. Like so. So just put a redstone block there. And the way we get this piston is actually not with a auto detection on this side. We actually just use an invert thing like this, and this actually gets the perfect timing for the tape. So if we fire this, this should do the tape once we fill this in. And by the way, those on the blocks that need to be solid are these 2 middle ones, rows here, because they must be solid. The rest don't matter, except for some, I think. So we can try it. And you can see the tape is cycling, and these might look like the pistons can't retract the blocks, but that's actually because the pistons start retracting the blocks as the blocks move above, and the blocks above, they're moving while they're moving, the pistons are retracting, so they can't pull down the blocks, because the blocks above are block 36, which is immovable, which is invisible. It's just basically whenever blocks are being moved or whatever, so pretty much. So that's pretty much how this is. Next, let's get into my favorite circuit, the quad. So the quad circuit, quick overview if you fly this way. This is the quad circuit. there's just a lonely repeater here, if we saw before. Yeah, this is the quad circuit. It's pretty bulky, but like, yeah. All the entities are just dropper loops, just for delay. So yeah, that's the quad, but now let's actually build it. Neon. So to detect it, I mentioned that this torch is going to be auto-detecting. We have this vortex repeater here. Now this is actually where we need to start whipping out droppers and hoppers. We're going to have a dropper like that, a hopper facing this way, and then a hopper facing this way. We need to do a clip here, and I want to make sure that that's correct. Before we get into the locked repeater over here, we have to quickly do this clip. So this clip is the normal clip. You could just do the gate soul sand thing, but there's this new one. You just have two minecarts, you roll one perfectly down like this. You don't do it fast, so you don't do like that. You just roll it down like this. And then when you place it, you want to break the rail. Not as fast as you can, but still pretty fast, because if you do it too fast, the minecart will not clip in. So something like that is fine, and you can see it goes in. And then we have to drop an extra minecart on top of it, because we have a piston in here, and the piston would pull up the minecart. So to get this block in, we're going to have the 0 ticket. So we place a piston, we place a lever or a button. I'm just going to use a lever. Do not put it on the back side like this. Make sure it's either on top, like this, or like this, and not on this side. And please use a sticky piston, not a normal piston. Otherwise it will not work. And just for now, just place those two hoppers. I did that wrong. I did that wrong. This is supposed to be one block lower. So, never mind. I did this wrong. Don't do what I just did. This goes one block lower. So dropper there. The hopper's here. Then the hopper clips this way. I'm just gonna speed this part up. Well, I'm just gonna do this faster. I'm not gonna speed it up, but you get the idea. Just gonna do this one really fast. Can I do this, please? Why? Thank you. That's in. Make sure. Yeah, it is. Drop an extra minecart on top to prevent that from breaking. We have this piston here. Remove that block, by the way. And then we have this piston, extra sticky lever, only on the side top, not on the back. And you can see this tries to pull up, but this one blocks it because minecarts cannot move other minecarts. You can see this trying to go up, and we can still send an item into here. And eventually this item will be a shovel, but we'll get to that later. We're now going to do our locked repeater. So this is actually what's going to fire this. We just have to do this little part first. Oh yeah, before we get into the locked repeater, I'll just show you where I messed up and where you messed up. Place this furnace, just place an item inside, or if you can just fire this repeater, and then put the item at, and then remove the rest of the I like doing this better. Place this to turn this off, place this, unlock that, and it's technically a toggle as well. So you just do this, or whatever. But this works. And the way I messed up was we need a repeater here, and we need to do a clip. So, yay, we need to get a powered rail here. I believe you pushed away from the powered rail, I am not sure. Because I don't normally do this clip, I normally just use World Edit to do this. Even though I know it's possible. Thank you, and then you're just gonna break the powered rail, and you can see it sits in the hopper with the repeater's facing the wrong way. I hate my life. It's supposed to be facing this way. Vortex, please. 4-tick. Thank you, and then that goes here. That sits in the hopper and the repeater. And then to get the rest in, we need to push it in. And yes, I did not forget to place this. I don't like doing these cards sometimes because normally I just do 2 floating mine cards. Well, not 2, but 1 on the bottom that holds up the other one. But I just felt like this looked better. And it was cooler. So you can see this does not move up. As you can see. And we're just going to get into the quad now, finally. We're going to actually finish this dropper loop because there's going to be a minecart in here later. And it's going to get pretty hectic. Now, I'm not sure where that actually is. It's there. Okay, so we're going to move this over by 1. We're going to have this, this, and that. And we're just going to place this for now. Nope, we're not. So we need to do a minecart clip. Another one. We're just going to move this, this, and we have to get it from this hopper to here. So we're going to do a very similar trick to what we did in square 1, where we did this, move that block, and then do this fast without messing it up. Thank you. And now we have to push all these blocks in. So we placed this. I did wall edit for this, but you could just push them in. If you wall edit, you could just push them in. Well, put them in. And then we put this back. And there's that cart, and you're gonna place a comparator there. That's actually gonna be one of the last moves. There's a shovel in there. Finally, we can actually get to the part where we're, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 1-ticks here. Now, this is actually my favorite part of the whole door, almost. We're going to fire the storage. So you can see that this fires this repeater, fires this dust, which would pull back the blocks. Let me just set this up quickly. And there you go, fires magenta. Cause yeah. So what we're going to do is, did I do something wrong? Make sure. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fire the tape. This should be back. When the tape fires, we can see that this 4-tick will be constantly on because this torch spams so much that the repeater can't wait 4 ticks to turn off, so it just stays on, and it'll keep this piston extended. You can see this just stays down, and this repeater, you can see that the torch is spamming, and it's obviously slower because so many people are online. This keeps this down for a really long time. And when it retracts, it's going to fire this dust. Now I'm actually going to remove this one because you're actually going to see what happens down here. You can see that does that. And we're going to reuse this 1-tick here that came from firing the storage with that 4-tick repeater there. Now, there's actually a reason why it's going to be like this, because it's actually quite specific. It takes, I believe it takes, I think it's 7 ticks, no, 8 ticks of delay to actually give that second 1-tick. So we need 6 ticks of delay to fire this, because they need to be 2 ticks apart, because that's how Java Edition works. Bedrock Edition, I believe you have to, if you were doing this for whatever reason, it would have to be like 4 ticks apart, I think. So what we're gonna, if you count the ticks, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is already 4 to 6. So now we just need 2 1-ticks going into this. We have a dust here. We block that off. And then we have 2 1-ticks like this. And we're gonna have a dropper here for later. Well, which will be the next step, and then have a slab here, because there's gonna be a burnout here, and we don't want this burnout to fire from this dust. So that's why we can't let it go down. That burnout will be the last thing. So if we fire the tape, this is only not working because of how it is. So with this dust here, this will fire magenta going through here. This will, with the 1-tick pulse, and if it's locational, it won't matter. It will pull down this stack with using the triple 1-tick thing. Also firing these 2 ticks, going up back into this tape thing, firing the storage, grabbing the blocks down here, which does a ton of work, and the way we pulled the blocks back is amazing. And I thought of it, it's just so big brain. So we're gonna fire the tape. This piston's obviously spamming, but I feel like I haven't really noticed it. I don't know why. I'm just gonna do it like that, so I don't have a hole in my wall. And you can see how well magenta actually works with this. And also, these blocks get pushed in perfectly, as well as these retracting, so these blocks will not get pulled down like that. So, literally, besides this dropper, all of this down here brings us to this stage, which is a lot. And the way we're going to pull back the storage is actually, well, this. So we're going to use this dropper, and we're going to have to delete this whole area out. And this is actually my favorite part of the whole door. I'm going to have this comparator here. And this is actually how we fire it, without having to go back. Because we could have a repeater here, but there's no room to do it anyway. So it doesn't really have to be 1-tick, but yeah. And I actually forgot to say this repeater had to be a hopper. So we're going to have a ton of hoppers like this. And this could age. I don't know if aging, I think aging has been patched, but like, I'm still not too sure. So this could age, and this is actually perfectly timed. The hoppers after this one don't matter. They don't matter. But the hoppers leading up to that comparator do matter, and it could age, I don't think. So I don't think anything should be an issue, but if there is an issue with aging, just let me know in the comments. So we're gonna have this block here, and this is actually the reason why this is redirect and why this is the dust. So we're gonna place these dust back, and I'm gonna explain this. So the way that this thing works, let me just do this quickly. Okay, so the way that this thing works is that this dropper gets fired when the 6 ticks of delay go into this thing to do the double. This is perfectly timed, so when it reaches this state, it will fire this piston. Now you're probably wondering how the hell this is going to fire. This block buds this piston, and this is the reason why this is a dust and not a block. And this is also the reason why this is down for this comparator. And this is like this because this dust will update this piston to extend. It will update this piston to extend, firing this tape thing again, firing the storage to pull things back, to pull these blocks back. Now you're probably wondering, won't this just go down and fire this? Well, it won't, because we're only going to have a signal strength of 1 down here. That means it will only fire this dust, and even if it did fire this dust, it would not make it up to this one anyway. If you put a shovel in here, for whatever reason, then it will fire that, and it will break. So, yeah. And then to get the rest in, well, I'm going to do this one first, because I think it's slightly easier to do. So we're going to come in here, we're going to roll this minecart down, and then clip this one up. So you can see that one's in the hopper. We're going to get to how we do that later. And now we're going to do this one. So this one is slightly different. We have a hopper minecart instead. So we're gonna get the hopper minecart in like so. I think that yeah, that's low enough. And next what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this minecart in like so. And that's gonna drop, and then when we just remove that and put it into here, see, it will end up back in there. And we're gonna utilize an output from this to fire this dropper, which will use something that was actually planned from the very beginning of the door. A perfect signal strength, so it fires this dust, this dust, this dust, and this dust, but will not fire this one or any of these to fire magenta, which would break the whole thing, or fire this thing, meaning that we don't have to do crazy timings like I did in the 720 and 760, where we just fire this extra thing here to push the blocks up, double pulse, then pull it back down. So we just only need to do a double pulse, double pulse. You'll see that in a second. So to set this up, I'm just going to fire this bottom input, which will also fire magenta. What's really good about this circuit is firing this bottom input always fires magenta, so I only need to send a 1 tick and it'll set it up for the tape for me. I forgot this block. That's it. You have to push this in. Either on the side, or the top, or the bottom, or the other side, but not on the back. And then give this a 1 tick. Get this. And now we can fire the tape. So if we just do this, so you see the tape cycling. Make sure there is an item in there, and quickly let's do this with putting this comparator in, and then get a note block here. Now that I think that could be a piston. Yeah, it could. So I might just make it a piston, I guess. I am missing something. Why did that not work? That didn't work. Oh, broke that repeater. Next, we try that again. So we're just gonna put these blocks back here. Come on. And also, forgot to mention, this thing here, firing this dropper, will do the signal strength thing that you'll see in a second, so let me give this a proper 1 tick. There we go. And then when this time we do fire the tape. See, it does cycle perfectly. This bottom is probably one of my favorite 6x6 bottoms that I've made. The worst one was definitely the 760 6x6 using observers. And because, like, it took forever. You can see it's that. We use the 1 tick. Does the storage perfectly times that piston. Now we do have to wait a while because the hopper returning. And you can see with the perfect signal strength of, well, the hopper having 5 slots here and the shovel being 3 signal strength inside of a hopper means that at a 15 this is 1/5. So the shovel will reach this one with signal strength 3, this one with signal strength 2, this one will also signal strength 2, but this one's signal strength 1. Now in my 1260 block observer one that was about like a year or so ago, I did something very similar with the subtract mode comparator here, but it was being subtracted to 15, so I had to subtract like 12 or something from it. I don't remember, but it was something like that. So yeah, we're missing 2 more things. One, the double pulse for this, and the double pulse or spam pulse, which is going to be this burnout. Now, there is one item in here, but we're actually going to have to add another one soon. So we're going to take an output from here, which is really the only place you can take an output. We're going to have a torch here. Now, I didn't actually realize this until I actually tried out the quad for the first time. We need an extra item in here, because if this item gets locked in here, this item will not get pushed back into here or something like that, I don't know. So we just need this extra item in here to make it work. Next, we're going to have this dust. Now, this dust might make it look like it's not going to work because this torch is here, but it actually does not matter because this torch will be spamming while this is spamming, this is always on, so this will only turn off when this torch turns off, so this spamming will not affect this, because this is always off. Now, we can't get that block in normally. Now, if you're stuck in here, you can find your own way out. We need to push this block in with a 0 tick, like that. Place a repeater. I believe it's on 2. I think it's on 1, actually. Yeah, it's on 1. And this does a classic double pulse burnout thing. So we need to also push this block in. Sorry about this madness. And we're gonna place this torch here, and then that dust, and then I'm just gonna do it again, like that. So this is just like in the top, it does use some burnouts and things. So just like this thing, when you have an invert that's 3.5 ticks, like an invert that's 3.5 ticks, it will give 2 pulses really fast into a burnout. So we actually use this in my, I actually use this in my 765 block 5x5, and also the 6x6 right here. But I think in that one I used 2 of them, or something like that, I don't know. So this should be the entire quad once we do the last double pulse here. Now we need to place a repeater facing this way. So what we're going to do is get a ladder or a torch. I'm just going to use the ladder and get a repeater, unless you're high, who is a mod to do this. And that will place it like this because it aims at the ladder and it sees that you're trying to place a block, but it can't, so it just places it there or something like that. I don't know. And we're gonna have a burnout here. Now this is actually this actually must be a 1 tick. Can't be anything else. Now this must be a 1 tick because of the timing. So with this timing up here, it will just make it so that normally if this was anything more, you will be stuck in this position here because the timing would not quite work. But with this being a 1 tick, the timing does work, and we'll leave it like this. So it doesn't get 9 pulses, it gets 8. Actually, it was supposed to be 7 because the first one gets cancelled. But yeah, this should be the entire quad. I believe this could be a piston, so I'm just going to set it to a piston. We can do the whole opening and closing for it, and then we can get to the top. And then we can see what's at the end of the video. Because I have a secret at the end. Something really, really cool that one person or some people have been asking for. And now we can do the opening. We have to fire the tape manually because we haven't actually got that part in with the top yet. You can see it set it up. We're gonna remove this. We're just gonna fire this, and you can see the tape goes. So this thing here gets fired when magenta goes, so it fires once on the closing, once on the opening. Then it will also get fired again, and then again. So, actually, I think I did that wrong. I think it's 16 or 15 times. You can see it does this, gets the perfectly timed pulse. Now we kind of have to wait a while for that to go. And you can see it perfectly times the retraction with double pulse and this burnout thing. So that's the whole bottom. It's probably my favorite bottom that I've made. It does use a lot of entities, minecart wise, but that's just how these work. In 1085 5x5, there's a ton of entities that are used because it just helps a lot. But yeah, we're just gonna fill in the walls here, and then we're gonna get to the top. So, but before we do the top, we need to disable the bottom. So just place a redstone block here. This does not contribute to volume because it's only here temporary to make it so that the bottom doesn't fire over and over. So the top, we're going to start with just going to put these blocks in. We're going to start with the top closing. So we're going to start with a slab here. Not there, here, please. A 1 tick repeater here. A monostable here. A dust here, and then this. So this will fire this storage. Next, we're gonna, this is actually why this is up. We need to fire these pistons here using a bud. So I probably could just put the bud under here, made my life easier, but I was actually never mind, I'm stupid. So we're gonna have 2 dust here. And that piston. And this comes from the 760 and all small 5 wide 5x5s and stuff. Yeah. This should be down. Thank you. This is not that. This is a dust. And then you have 2 1-ticks here. And then this extra block is a redirector for a tripwire hook. This is for later. So we're almost done the whole top closing. We just need one more thing, and that's to fire these pistons to go down. So we're gonna have a 1-tick repeater, 2 1-tick repeaters, sorry, and then that. Now there was actually a time where this top just randomly didn't work. So there was this area here that had to get changed. This 3-tick repeater was originally here, but it can't because, well, there's a dust here. And it would fire the 3-tick repeater, breaking the top for whatever reason, which took me 30 minutes to figure out why. So, yeah. So, what happens here is that once we actually put in all the blocks, like so, I'm just going to put this in for now. This will go up here, these slabs. This one's a slab, so it doesn't bud this. This one doesn't need to be a slab, I don't think. I think it just left it like this. But it doesn't matter anyway. This will fire this here, firing this. Then fire this. Now, this is actually the fastest way you could do this without like input bug or like input delay. Just like giving this a 1-tick, this is the fastest way to do this, I think. So you give this a pulse like this, and then you give this one a 1-tick later. So pistons can retract and then fire another one 2 ticks before, but they can extend within like 1 tick or something. So like you can do something like this. This works. If you give this a 1-tick pulse like this, you can see it perfectly extends. You can see it retracts. Now in some cases or something like that, it can't retract, so it would just derp this piston out here over and over. So it would go like, you can see it would do something like this. They can't retract. But like with a 2-tick, it's like if we have like with a 2-tick here, so if we have a 1-tick here like this, we give this a 1-tick pulse, you can see it can't retract. But if we give 2-tick, then it will retract. Now input bug does not make that a thing, I don't think, but this pushing in and then 1-tick there again pushed down, perfectly fine. You don't need to add an extra delay. And this going up into this dust, 2 ticks, this must be 2 1-ticks. Firing this bud here. Now, firing this input later will not fire this. Because of, well, yeah, it won't fire this because of the fact that this will be a 0-tick pulse. And this will not bud, 0-tick pulse cannot bud, so this update won't matter. If this was an instant update like a no block, then it would work, I think. But obviously, and it's actually important, these are 2 1-ticks, which I'll get into when we do extra moves. And so firing, getting back to the top closing, this will go back into this thing, firing it again, firing the storage. This time it will not fire this. Now this is actually important that it's like this, because this repeaters pushing these blocks down will make it so when this dust fires, it does not fire this, and it would cancel it and will just not work. But when we fire the circuit again, without this, this will be able to fire. And then we just time with a boat, a sand tower to fire this perfectly. Now, we have 2 sand here, a furnace here. Now, I'll need to do something soon, so yeah, I'll be back in like a couple minutes once I place these 2 4-tick repeaters. So I'll be back, I will cut this out, and you'll see me back soon. Okay, I am back. I have to do stuff. So where were we? Yeah, we were doing this fort delay here. Well, we're gonna do something cool here. We're gonna do an updater here. Now, this was like this because I thought something was not working, so I'm just gonna keep it like this. But I think you could just have a piston with a dust here, but yeah, it's fine. So we're gonna have a block here. We're gonna have I think I'm doing this wrong. No. Okay, so we have 2 tick, 1 tick, a dust, and a torch. A torch will be used for later. And this will do the entire tile closing, make sure the bottom is disabled with that redstone block. When I flick it. I forgot an item in here. There you go. And then that does the entire tile closing. And then for the double extender, we're going to use a boat. Now, to make sure this actually stays on, honestly, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to quickly get this to retract. Just going to move that dust. We need to get a boat to sit. I'm just going to use an iron. You can use a gold or iron. I'm just going to use iron because I think it looks better for the sake of the color of the circuit wall. We're going to remove this. Place a boat as like centered as you can onto the block, and then go forward so you reach this block and go a little bit more. Now, I believe is this off now? I think it is. Power 0, I have to move farther back. Thank you. So, using the subtitles, you can easily see that does that. So, this pushing up, push the boat up, turning this pressure plate off, and when it falls back down, it fires the pressure plate. And we're going to use that to do the opening and trigger the opening trigger. Now, there's probably something we could do about this. Now, I'm using iron trapdoors because, yeah, I actually found a use for this, so we just do this. I found a use for this, so we needed a block that's higher than a slab because the slab cannot be placed. If there's any other blocks that could work, then just let me know. So this boat needs to go as high as possible. Yeah. And it has to be able to go all the way up. If this is a slab, it will hit the slab and then fall back down. And now that you can do this, I found a use for it. So now let's get into the opening. So we have a 1 tick repeater here. This is going to be a regular monostable. This will go into this 1 tick repeater, which fires this. This will go into a dust here. This is the dust I was talking about with I had a 3 tick here before where it messed up. There will be a repeater here, which fires this. We're gonna have so this here will do the full double extension. You're just missing parts of the retraction for it. With this 3 tick here, to the right, yeah, I did. With that 3 tick, which will pull these things up. So if you picture the double extender like this, we are in this state like so. It would have done this, bud this through the ceiling, pull this up. Now we just have to grab this. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to have a dust here, I believe. Yeah. And then we're going to have a comparator. Now, this is a comparator because I actually used this in a 5x5 like a really, really long time ago. This comparator cannot accept pulses from anywhere except for this 3 tick. Because it's all 1 tick pulses. So, from repeaters. So this is a repeater 1 tick, so comparator will not accept it. This is a repeater 1 tick. There's going to be a repeater here with a burnout. Sometimes the burnout could fire the comparator, but if it's a repeater, it won't matter. So, yeah, this comparator then goes into 2 1 ticks like this. and it will go into this dust here. Have a one tick here, I think. Don't know, I can't, there's not even a one tick. And just have dust, and a slab here. That does the entire double extender, plus the retraction of these pistons at the exact right time. Now, I did mention that these repeaters cannot be changed. And they can't. Well, not for the sake of the quad, but for the sake of the closing. So if we unflick this, unflick it, if I didn't mess up that boat, then yes, it would work. So now I have to reset this. Now we can actually get the full glory of the top closing after that mishap. So if we flick it, you can see it fully extends. I'm just going to remove these blocks so I don't have to get them after. And when we unflick it, I'm stupid. Forgot this updater here. Why am I so stupid? I don't understand. Don't understand why I'm so stupid. And yes, I am recording this when I'm supposed to be in school, but I haven't school today, so they eat. So this should do the full double, like this, like that, and that. Let's remove this. And you can see this the full double. And you can see these pulled up as well, which is perfect. Next, what we have to do is a double holes into this, and like I mentioned before, we're gonna have a dropper here. Make sure to put any item inside. And then we're gonna have a comparator here. This is our invert, just like on the bottom. And this actually will send the items back here. It will send them back down, firing the other side pistons and the tape at the right time. So, just like this invert, well, not that one, this repeater thing down here with this burnout, we have this one here. So this one will pretty much retract the whole quad, it's just you're missing a couple things. So if we just quickly fire this, well, you can see it gives two really fast pulses where it can do that. And that will obviously get updated. And the way that this works is quite simple. This gets extended. As this is retracting, the dust starts turning back on. So this still retracting updates this piston. Butting it, but then there's obviously an updated piston, so just do this. So that should do the whole quad pretty much. We just have to do two more retractions, firing this, and the extra moves which goes in this row here, which probably was the worst circuit on the top to make, but not too bad. So let's get into the top rest. So we have a 4-tick here because we need to wait a little bit to actually pull these up, I think, otherwise it'll be too fast. We have this here. We're gonna have this sticky piston here. This will then go into, well, there's gonna be hoppers here eventually, but like, we'll do this for now. And I can't remember where that goes. It goes right next, but okay. We have to redirect this dust here so it doesn't fire that piston from over here. You could just make, never mind. You could just make this a sand and save a tripwire, but like I'm lazy, so yeah, deal with it. Next, and then last but not least, so this will pull these pistons up, and with the 0-tick pulse. And the only thing we're missing is the double holes to this thing. And the way we get that is we extend this out here. And you're probably thinking, wouldn't this fire this and make a big clock? Well, it actually won't, because this torch constantly keeps it on. And this being a burnout does not turn off this torch. so it will never clock. And the way we're going to fire it is with this piston here, this 4-tick repeater, and I can't remember exactly how, yeah. This will be droppers and hoppers later. This and dust there. Now if I can time this, can I time this perfectly? Thank you. So you can see it would retract all the way up. So if we do this should be the entire quad done, and this would pull everything all the way up to the top. So if we click the lever, remove this, and then do this, and you can see it pulls all the way up. Next, the extra moves. We need to first make the toggle, which is a quite simple toggle. It's just 3 droppers and then hopper spam. We have a dropper there, a dropper here, and a dropper this way. A piston, make sure it's a piston, it must be a piston. In fact, you could actually use a sticky piston for whatever reason, but like, not a piston works. So, we need to, this dropper fires first, then this one gets a bud power. So that's just the way that the dropper order fire for the first 2. It will always fire this one, then it will check around, then fire that. So it will fire this one first. So there's an item in here, an item here, which there will be. It would fire this one out first, then put this one, instead of sending this one through both. It would only send through both if you're firing this one instead of this one. Therefore, it would be a 2-state. Next, what we gotta do is some hopper stuff. Yay. So we're gonna point a hopper into here, and we're gonna loop hoppers into there, into here, like this. And that's actually why I mentioned that these 2 would be hoppers. We're gonna drop a minecart into this, so just for the sake of placing that piston back, we're gonna put a piston here, place a minecart chest on top, get a lever or any form of powering, pull it back, push it back in. And that just gets the minecart in without having to push that piston downwards and stuff. Next, this is actually the last circuit of the door. Did I place that dust? Yeah, I did. And to get this minecart in here, there's also going to be a repeater here. So we need to get the rail clip like this. We're going to push and go up to here. Technically, you could use a floated minecart sitting on top of a furnace minecart or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Do that, and then make this a 4-tick. And you can see it sits in the hopper perfectly. Next, we're going to have to get inside of here and place some line blocks. So we're going to have this here, a 1-tick, a 1-tick, a 1-tick, and a comparator. Here, and then this goes up. You're probably wondering, what does this even do? This actually fires this dust here, which will fire the storage to, well, not the storage, but to pull these up. And we use this bit of hopper delay to kind of wait for the bottom to do stuff as well. And we actually get 2 outputs, not 1, so we get a second output from here, like that. That repeater's facing the wrong way. I'm too lazy, so I'm just going to do a world edit. Thank you. Sorry about that. If you did it the wrong way, you know how to do it, because you just did it. We're going to have this. Now, you could just use a cauldron here, but, like, density is important. So, and it's technically cheaper to do it like this as well. So you just put any item in there. Could be a redstone block, bedrock if you're that rich. Have a 4-tick here, because we need to have as much delay as possible. we have this piston here. It's actually the reason why we have that dust redirected here, so it doesn't fire this and fire in the quad, breaking it. Next, we're going to have a slab on a vortex repeater here. This is a slab, because you'll see in a second. And we're going to have a dropper here. And this is how we're going to fire the quad. So in this current state, also, with this thing, this firing, this dust here, will also fire the storage. Now, the only things that we're missing, so the current state that we are in is like this. So if we're in the first set of blocks, this would have pulled up, then this would have went back up. And the current state that we are in is like so. So you have this down like this, we need to push it down an extra one, and then fire the whole quad. Now remember, firing, actually I did a mistake. Never mind. Make this a no block, sorry about that. And then get the 2 concrete powders back in. Sorry, that has to be a no block, and that's actually why, for lime. So, this, when this goes down, this will fire storage, leave us in the state. We now have to push this slider, only the slider, so not firing this or the dust back there, only the slider up so it fires these repeaters, pushing this downwards like that, which will get it into the position it needs to be. So it will be like this, and then at the right time, which is actually why you saw it in the showcase video, at the right time, this thing went through and then fired the dropper through bud. That's actually how we fire the quad, because we need a long pulse, because we need to wait for this to fully extend. Then when it fully extends, then we can pull it downwards. So this is actually why this is a slab, because we don't want this dust to fire this in the closing, which will break, or even before the closing. We're going to get a lime wool here, of dust. This is going to use that note block there to bud that piston. The note block will update the piston, and that reminds me, that's why that could be a note block or a piston, doesn't matter. It will use that note block to update the piston, pushing it upwards, but then you'll probably realize if that's going to push it upwards, how does it retract when this turns off? The dust updating the piston head will cause it to retract anyway. And now we're on the home stretch. We just have to turn the dropper off. So right now, we are in the state of the top closing basically, and we just have to push the item, which is up here, down. And the way we're going to do that, originally I had this as a dust, and what you could just do is have a target block here and send it that way, but that's disgusting, so I'm just going to use a dropper hopper, because I'm smart like that. Yeah, boy. So we can get lime. No, forgot. This is a block. This is a trapdoor, and this one's also a trapdoor, so remembering that this bug needs to be able to go up. You have a comparator. This one can't be a trapdoor because the pressure plate keeps this open, and if it's a wooden trapdoor, because you can kind of toggle it, it won't matter because like when the pressure plate goes down, it's still open and break. So we have a lime wool block here, a vortex repeater because we need some delay because we need to kind of wait for this thing, because still firing that drop, pulling this down, we still have to wait for these to actually extend, because this dropper fires before this last repeater turns on. So we just need some extra delay. Goes into this 2-tick, which goes up to a block or a slab of the dust with density. And there we go. That should be the whole 6x6. I don't think you should test it because it could break. So we can fill in the top, we can do this, this, this. Now, I'm not going to forget this. We need to put 20 items in here. Like that. This piston will also get fired from this vortex, but it won't matter. This is also just like a regular piston toggle as well. It's like this. So it takes two times for it to come out, not 2 chances. You got 1, doesn't do anything because it fires the top one, then the bottom one because it checks, just like this thing, and yeah, and then you can see it goes out. So yeah, this should be the whole 6x6. Enable the bottom. Don't test it because it might not work, and if it doesn't work, I will come back to you and find out why it doesn't work. Item, that. So that does that. Now, oh, I see. We're missing a dust here. Found the issue. Okay. Found the issue. Didn't take that long at all. Just was missing a dust. Just if you had that dust missing, that might be the issue. We can enable the bottom and enable tape. Finally, should work. 1,260 blocks 6x6 should now work. I think. Thank you. And you can see why it's slow because of that timing. It's important. And then the tape on the bottom. And grabs the thing like that. Tape comes around and does the quad, which is still my favorite circuit at the door. It's just so nice. And I think the TPS is now better, so everything's slightly faster. But yeah, that's the whole door. I did say that I was going to show you the redstone for the thing. Let's go see the redstone and how I fooled so many people with this thing. So it's fast 4x4. Do I have a lever? I don't think I do. I'm on the wrong side. I'm smart. You can see it closes instantly. Now I did say in the video that the piston's lagged out. No, that's just a visual bug. The door just opens and closes instantly because it's this. Yay! Just piston noises. It's also spam proofed. Yay! It's literally just my 3x3 because it's all just piston noises, make it sound cool. Yay! And it's command blocks because it's vanilla. Yeah. Command blocks just pasting the pistons in, the door blocks in. That layout that I showed in the video was just for fun. You can actually see all the pistons. Like that. This layout over here, completely useless. Not supposed to work. And it actually does work, I think. So if you do want to see me make this, actually, a regular 4x4 with this ugly layout, let me know in the comments. So yeah, the foolish I just used the command blocks, and there's no lag because it's beautiful. So yeah, no tutorial because really anyone can make this. And the reason why it's seamless in 0.1 seconds because repeater. That's 1.1 seconds because that's a tenth of a second, so 0.1. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the 6x6 tutorial and the reveal of the April Fools. I will see you next time. Please just don't watch to the end if you're already seeing this. So please don't, if you skip to the end, just to see this. I'm sorry. Please, just watch the tutorial. Anyways, bye bye. Oh yeah, it uses boat.